Meet Yuan, a skinny otaku loser who never touched a grass in the entirety of his lifespan. Every day, he spent all of his time fantasizing about an animated woman while massaging his 3-inch third leg. Due to his pathetic lifestyle combined with his bad oral hygiene, he spent all of his life single and has no friends. One day, he decided to travel to participate in another otaku activity. While he was about to board the flight, he was suddenly transported to a different world. A world where dragons and magic exist along with top-tier and high-quality women. Rather than coping, Yuan decided to explore and enjoy every moment in this bizarre yet bona fide world. His narcissistic behavior suddenly kicks in, stating that he must be the main character for he is chosen to be the one who will be transported. Although he is indeed the main character, his delusion of becoming a harem protagonist is way too off. As he acts stupid like he usually does, an old man approaches him, asking if he took the exam from the border country. Just by looking at his ridiculous poker face, the old man decided to drag him into taking the test. He boasted to everyone inside the academy that a prodigy had arrived, proclaiming that they were about to witness a new record. Much to everyone's surprise, he indeed made an unbeatable record, and that record is for being the weakest student that the school has ever encountered. He left the academy heartbroken with no gorgeous chicks to flock near him. He sat down under the shade of a tree, reminiscing about the embarrassing act that he performed at the academy. However, the old man approaches him, telling him that he is not useless at all as everyone in the world has their own role to fulfill. The old man advises him that rather than being a try-hard wizard, he could instead become a gardener which could help him survive on the continent. Although he was skeptical at first, he accepted the offer to prove that he had a purpose in this world. He immediately started tending the garden, giving 100% of his effort to it. With the addition of his weak nature ability, the job suits him perfectly. In the middle of his duty, he saw a man simping on a mid-tier woman. The group was able to sense him, so they gave him a punishment. At night, the old man brought up the topic of reaching the peak strength of this world. He noted that by growing a fairy seed, the potential for achieving peak strength wouldn't be impossible. The old man decided to inherit the fairy seed that he had been keeping ever since he was young to our hero. Yuan noticed that a Chinese character was written on the seed. Apparently, none of the people in this bizarre world can read and recognize Chinese characters, including the old man. He tried all of the meticulous methods that he could do just to make the seeds bud, but none worked. And then one night, while he was trying to figure out how to solve his seed problem, he encountered the simps, along with the not-so-beautiful woman. The woman turns out to be a vampire. He tried his best to save himself from imminent harm. However, the woman managed to grab a hold of him. As he was about to die, the fairy seed suddenly bloomed, revealing a red-headed woman who looked like a Walmart version of 02 from Darling in the Franxx. Just when he thought he was saved, the red-haired woman turns out to be a blood fairy, and she came to end our hero's life. The fairy, whose name is Mo, Faye was caught in surprise when her instincts suddenly told her not to harm Yuan. Feeling curious about this weird sensation, she decided to him, killing the wicked vampire in the process. Yuan woke up and started imagining a scenario where Faye would become his servant. Unlike his expectation, Faye draws her sword, telling him that she came to kill him by herself. That wouldn't be a problem for our hero though, as his 3-inch sword is already pointing towards her. However, each damage that Faye inflicts on Yuan causes her to receive the same damage. Suddenly, a hot chick appears, saying that she is the chairman of the Shoyu Academy, and her name is Ersi. Revealed that our hero was her employer. Therefore, any harm that she does to him would result in her taking the damage instead. Ersi informed Yuan to forget the fairy for a brief moment and gave him the Fairy 101 manual. Yuan touches the book, resulting in Faye becoming one of the pages in the book. Inside Ersi's household, the two of them talk about the legend of demon spirits. She explains that there was once an era where fairies were common to be found. However, for some reason, fairies disappeared without an explanation. She added that the manual was written ages ago and contains knowledge about fairies. Yuan, who is socially adept in nature, assumed that she was giving him the book for free. But Eri proposes to him that he should enroll in her academy and find the vampire that was hiding there. Only then, she would give him the book. Fearing that his life would be in danger, Yuan refuses, as he doesn't want to take the risk. However, after being pinned against the wall by a girl with a huge rack, combined with her offer that she would give him more fairy seeds, he accepted her offer while groveling like a dog. Before he sleeps, Yuan reads the fairy manual. There, he saw a statement that a fairy would get stronger if the bond between their contractor got stronger. This bothered him as the moment Faye came out, she wanted to kill him. Suddenly the book glows up, telling him that it also contains a memory world of the fairies before they become a fairy. The book revealed that fairies were once human too, and once they become a fairy, they must give up their freedom and follow their employer at all costs. The book's spirit then possesses his cell phone as if the spirit is an AI like Siri. Everyone at the academy was looking at him menacingly, implying that he would receive non-stop bullying. One of the students tried to embarrass him by throwing a power-level crystal. To their surprise, rather than showing his weak side, the crystal revealed that he has two powerful abilities, which impress everyone at the academy. Yuan suddenly went into transcendence and immediately asked a cute chick. The girl blushes, and she gets confused at her feelings, so she runs off. He wakes up at his transcendence and asks the spirit for what just happened. The spirit reveals that he gained both the fairy and vampire ability. In the sparring class, the bully challenges our hero to fight him. While the duel is about to start, a royal princess named Qi arrives, along with his royal knight Ri, to witness the battle. In an instant, our hero defeats the bully. He loses consciousness in the process. He then wakes up in a place full of fire and destruction, where people are pleading for their lives. There, he saw a younger version of Faye. He tries to take care of the poor child, but then two men appear from the shadows and decide to sell the young Faye for her beauty. Yuan tries everything to protect Faye. He even uses his own body as a shield for her. Suddenly he woke up in the academy's infirmary, where the spirit informs him that he went back in time when Faye was still a human. Despite having no friends, Yuan felt sympathy for her. Suddenly two women along with a man entered the infirmary. It was revealed that these chicks were vampires, and they came to suck the man's blood. They were about to suck Yuan's blood too, but then their master arrived. The vampire's master is none other than Ri, the royal knight. At night, he couldn't stop to shake away his fear, so he cooked an instant noodle to calm himself. Suddenly, he starts hearing footsteps, so he hides at the side for a surprise attack. The moment the door opened, he punches the intruder. It turns out that Princess Qi is the intruder who is now unconscious, thanks to his domestic abuse ability. Yuan puts the unconscious princess on a bed. He gets tired of guarding the poor princess, resulting in him sleeping beside her. Qi wakes up and is surprised that stenchful otaku is sleeping beside her. The princess calms down when Yuan cooks instant noodles for her. Suddenly, the vampires demolish his door and invade his place. The moment the hot vampire spotted their hiding spot, he unleashes his vine ability, and they run away as far as possible. He summons Faye to deal with the monster. Thanks to that, the vampires were overwhelmed, giving the princess time to hide. Rai then arrived, and the vampires were glad that their master had come to save them, but they couldn't be more wrong. Rai beheaded them like Chelsea from a Kamega kill. His spirit warned them that Ri was a level 8 knight, therefore it would be impossible for Faye to beat him. However, the stubborn fairy kept on charging on. Their battle goes on with Faye barely keeping up. He asks the spirit what he could do to assist Faye. The spirit reveals that he needs to get Faye to like him, so her power will increase as stated in the contract. She revealed that there are 2 ways to do it. First is by having daily interaction with her, and second is by entering Faye's memory world and finishing it. Yuan chooses to do the second option. However, he doesn't have enough spiritual energy to do it. Fortunately, the petite princess arrived, offering him some of her energy. She sees the duel between Faye and Ri. However, her nearsightedness doesn't allow her to recognize Ri. Yuan blocks Qi at the pain of finding out that his favorite knight is a villain after all. He tells her that she should close her eyes as she shares her energy in exchange for instant noodles. Yuan then got transported back to Faye's memory world, where Faye is already in her prime beauty. He approaches her, but he can't touch her, nor can Faye see and hear them. Faye received her money for doing her mercenary activities. She then walks to her place and sees a man with long, who looks exactly like Yuan, but with less stench and a more appropriate outfit. Faye tries to buy the man's sword, but the man states that it is not for sale. The next morning, Faye prepares for her usual mercenary routine. She glances at her window where he sees the man playing violin for the children. One of the children gives her a flower which he delightfully accepts. The man sees Faye looking at him, so he smiles at her. Faye's heart fluttered and quickly closed her window. Later, the man protects the same child and gives her a flower from the thugs who were trying to kidnap her. He uses his own body as a shield to prevent them from taking the poor child. Faye noticed them, and she remembered the man whom she didn't know was Yuan, as she was too weak and young to remember anything from that day. Faye intervenes, and thanks to her reputation, the thugs run away in fear. As a token for saving him and the child, the man offers his sword to Faye. Although it wasn't for sale, The man gave it to her as a gift, which Faye never experienced in his entire life. In exchange, Faye promises that he will help the man whenever he is in danger. Meanwhile, thinks that man is nothing but a con artist. He believes that the man has done his research on Faye's life and intentionally sits in front of Faye's house with a cute cat to get her attention. He believes that everything is nothing but an act to captivate the innocent Faye. To add to that, he said that the man would of course grab Faye's attention due to the quality of men in this area. Back to the present, the princess is struggling to keep on giving him spiritual energy as she is already on her wit's end. Ri tries to attack both the princess and Yuan, but Faye shields them using her own body. Faye got stabbed in the chest. She then recites an incantation where her blood turns into red thorny vines that constrict both her and Rai. As she was about to pass out, Faye wondered if it was worth it to sacrifice her life for Yuan. Back to our hero, Yuan kept on stalking Faye and the long-haired man. Yuan shouted at the man, and the man answered back. It was revealed that the man could see and hear him all along. Yuan tells the man to stop treating Faye as if she was a video game character from dating simulators. The man stated that he was doing the same thing. It is just that their reason varies greatly. Meanwhile, Faye gazes out of her window, lost in contemplation. But her reverie is interrupted by the sound of someone approaching her door. She ambushes the man and pins the intruder. It turns out that the man is a long-haired man. The man asked why she reacted that way. She revealed that she never had a visitor knocking on her door before. Faye felt bad that she ruined the food that the man brought. However, the man stated that it was okay, and he would go back for more. While Faye watches the man walk away, she is still perplexed by her feelings. Later, the man with long hair and Faye share moments together, admiring the stunning view from atop the city tower. The man discloses that he is an adventurer who journeys to various locations around the world. Faye was impressed that there was a person like him that is so free that he could go wherever he wished to. The man reveals that he found a place full of beautiful flowers, and like that goes on like forever. He offered Faye to come along with him. However, Faye was unable to give him an answer. After finishing her hitman job, Faye encounters the man yet again and hides her sword ashamed of the blood. The man mentioned he was heading to her place, but Faye disclosed that she had prior commitments, so he should proceed ahead without her. Upon returning home, Faye is surprised by the man who has prepared braised pork belly and soup for dinner. Faye received a scald from the hot soup, so the man kisses her, implicating it as a treatment. Faye blushes after receiving such a top-tier riz. The man responded that while he hates the killer, he doesn't hold any animosity towards her, considering the environment she lives in. Faye reveals that there was once a man who helped her in the past and protected her when she was little. She added that she felt the same gentleness again when the long-haired man came into her life. The man assures her that he won't allow her to continue living in this corrupted place anymore. Yuan is in panic as he knows that the man is making an empty promise. Faye went to the tavern where he asked the eye-patched dude to double her pay, as she planned to leave the city along with the long-haired man. The man was able to confirm that Faye was in love. He warns her that she will only get hurt. However, she did not listen to his advice. Faye approaches the cunning man excitedly since she brings the ticket to his promised paradise. The man takes the ticket and asks Faye to meet up with him at the high tower for 3 days. After 3 days, Faye patiently waits at the city tower. However, the man did not show up after. Yuan has no choice but to watch the poor girl suffer. The next day, the eye-patched man arrived, stating that the enemies from the Western District had arrived. The old man saves Faye from imminent danger, resulting in him dying in the process of it. She saw that the little girl from before was being held captive by the thugs, so she immediately springs into action, thinking that the man with long hair is in trouble. She hugs the poor girl, telling her that everything is okay. However, the little girl stabs Faye. On the verge of death, she felt both anger and relief when she saw the con artist. It turns out that the con artist made a deal with the mercenary thugs that he could kill Faye by himself. Something interesting then happened. The long-haired man killed all of the mercenary thugs using his fairies. A plot twist reveals that the man is searching for a candidate to become the next fairy. He stated that he chose Faye to become the next fairy. Faye, who is about to die, accepts his offer so she can get her revenge on him someday. A tower of red wraps her up painfully, suspending her high above the ground until she loses consciousness. The man justified his actions by explaining that he only desires to nurture strong women through his interventions. He stated that he knew everything about Yuan and his objective to create a harem route with them. Yuan countered, stating that his sole concern now is protecting Faye. The con man leaves, telling Yuan that if he is strong, he will have the same conviction as he has. The spirit informs that he has to wake Faye up to finish the memory. Unfortunately, Yuan has no clue on how to accomplish that. He recalls the initial summoning of Faye, triggered when he received a stab in the chest. He picked up the broken sword from the girl. Though he stabbed himself, he failed to do so completely. Yuan cries, thinking to himself that he is pathetic. Yuan saw the other half of the sword, and then approached Faye. He stated that after encountering Faye, his objective of having a lot of concubines changed when he met her. As pathetic as he was, our hero wanted to do what a proper main protagonist would do in such a tragic story. He kisses Faye and lets go of the vine. He then falls straight onto the blade on the ground. While Yuan is lying on the ground with a blade struck on his chest, Faye dreams that Yuan and the long-haired man are the same figure. She then recalls all her encounters with the long-haired man, but this time she visualizes Yuan within those memories. With these revelations, Faye awakens from her dreams and liberates herself from the vines. Her attire switched back on her fairy clothes. She approaches our hero's lifeless body and pulls the blade out of her chest. Faye confirms to herself that Yuan is not the man with long hair, and her anger towards him disappears. She weeps over Yuan, pleading with him not to die. It turns out that Yuan is only pretending to be unconscious because he's desperate for a cute fairy with a bottle figure to cry for her. Yuan then tells her that the princess is giving him a spirit energy right now, so he could settle the memory world and strengthen the bond between him and her. He pleads for Faye's forgiveness, explaining that he never intended to deceive her, unaware that he would awaken from the blade that had pierced his chest. The spirit notified our hero that he successfully strengthened his bond with Faye. Faye offered his hand to Yuan, ready to exit the memory world. Princess Qi exhausts herself from channeling spirit energy to Yuan, causing her to lose consciousness. Our hero gets ready for battle, summoning Faye once again. The two of them fuse like Vegeta and Goku from Dragon Ball. In his transformed state, this otaku emanates a crimson aura of energy. Ri charges forward, but he quickly finds himself outmatched against our hero. With a mighty punch infused with fiery energy, Yuan defeats Ri, creating a massive crater in the process. Following the fusion, Yuan becomes exhilarated, realizing the overwhelming power of their fusion. However, Faye started to become conscious of our boy. Yuan decided to take it even further by being touchy with her, so Faye punishes him for being too slicky. Suddenly, Ursi arrives and expresses gratitude for their efforts in dealing with the notorious vampires on the campus. As a reward, Ursi gave Yuan 2 fairy seeds. The next day, Yuan is too tired to even listen to the class's discussion. The professor notified everyone that they would be having a new face in the classroom. The new faces are Faye and Princess Qi. The two instantly became an instant celebrity for being too pretty. However, our hero is too exhausted to even recognize that Faye and Qi are his new classmates. The instructor asked them to find a comfortable that they would like. Much to everyone's surprise, Qi and Princess Qi take seats beside Yuan. He notices that the class is too noisy, prompting him to finally raise his head. He was surprised that Qi and Faye sat beside him. Meanwhile, the boys in the class were in a deep state of jealousy due to his popularity. Qi suggests to him that he should go back to sleep since he seems exhausted from what happened last night. Faye confirmed that he did not sleep at all last night. The entire conversation was interpreted wrongly by the boys in the class. As a result, Yuan is chased out of the classroom by a stampeding crowd behind him. Influenced by the boys' misunderstanding, he finally manages to escape the crowd and uses the opportunity to enter the library to learn magic. Entering the library, Yuan is amazed by the vast number of books that the library contains. The librarian with long blue hair asked what he needed. He replied that he needed information about accelerating plants' growth. The cute librarian employs magic to locate 5 scrolls that perfectly match his description. However, the chick only gave him 2 scrolls. Later that night, Yuan heads to the lake, excited at the prospect of finally being able to grow the seeds that Ursi gave him. The spirit employs that ordinary seed magic does not grow any fairy seeds, resulting in our hero being disappointed. But then, the spirit tells him that she could absorb all of the information in the book in just a blink of an eye. Thanks to her, the 2 fairy seeds started glowing. He planted the pink seed into the lake while planting the blue fairy seed on the ground. Elsewhere, Ri informed his master that he failed the given task. Frustrated by the news, he throws his drink to Ri, angered by the fact that despite devising a perfect plan, Ri messed it up. Ri apologizes and tells him that he did not expect Chi to be guarded by a fairy. The master is invigorated by the revelation that a fairy is involved in the matter. He believes that if he gained control of all of the fairies, he could finally conquer the whole continent. Ri reveals that the fairy is already on a contract with someone, so the wicked mastermind orders Ri to execute him. After 7 days, the lake bloomed into a giant lotus with a pink aura. As the pink fairy awakened, she saw our hero's ridiculous face. So, she charges at him. Before things get out of hand, the blue fairy blooms in a distance. The pink fairy's demeanor disappears when she sees the blue fairy, and the pink fairy declares that the two of them are sisters. The two fairies introduce themselves to our hero in a cute fashion, making his nose bleed. Yuan puts the two fairies into the manual, making our hero excited as he collects yet another fairy. The following day, Ursi calls for our hero, telling him that he is in danger and he is about to die. She reveals that Ri has come with an army along with him, and he comes to hunt him. They wanted to get rid of our hero, as he was the fairy master, realizing their urgency to act before he acquired all the fairies. She asked our hero along with her fairies to leave, as she didn't want to risk her academy. As he was about to leave, the cute librarian gave him a crystal terminal. She stated that he could use the terminal to redeem rewards whenever he could find scrolls and magic spells. Yui thanks her and announces his departure to everyone in the academy. On their journey, asks his spirit to possess the crystal and make it a part of herself. Later, the wandering group stumble upon a lake. Immediately, Yuan and Chi dove into the water. However, they were ambushed by a menacing dragon. The dragon demands that he should hand over his fairies to him. The dragon, whose name is Georgios, a dragon royalty. The dragon cries out when he hears that our hero was able to defeat a level 8 knight due to the fact that he is a mere level 3 dragon. Yuan then offers the dragon a one-on-one, which the dragon accepts. Our hero gained the upper hand when he managed to constrict the dragon using his vine spell to drag the dragon into the water. Giorgio quickly admits his defeat, as the number one thing he hates the most is water. The dragon recognized our hero's effort and gave him a flute that he could use whenever he was in danger. The group arrived at the hotel where they spent their dinner, mesmerized by the view of the dining room. The bull attendant tells them a story about the dry leaf lake. He explains that lotus leaves fill the entire lake until one day all of those lotus withered, resulting in the name changing to Woody Lake. The lotus fairy, whose name is Shuang, left the hall frustrated. Our hero tried to comfort her. However, the angry fairy attacked him instead. Unfortunately for Shuang, her attempt backfired, resulting in her receiving the damage. Just then, the mercenary thugs arrived. So, they quickly group up to defend our hero. Yuan blows the flute and commands Giorgio to stop the intruders. To make matters worse, Giorgio betrays Yuan. He tells the thugs to give him a fairy after they beat our hero. He tried to drag the traitor back to the water again, but this time, it doesn't work. Suddenly, a seal inside the lake activated and started sinking everything within the perimeter, including Yuan. Meanwhile, the pink fairy and her sister Tan were caught off guard by the attackers. Meanwhile, we get to see Ri is having a breakdown as he struggles to kill Princess Chi, because at some point, Ri and Chi had a genuine bond before. He took the courage to draw his sword and prepared to behead the princess. Our hero wakes up and finds himself in another world. He still tries to figure out what happened, but then he sees the con artist man yet again. The cunning man tells him that a new game has begun. Just then, a woman resembling Shuan emerges from the woods. The girl approaches him and tends to his wound. As the girl is about to leave, Yuan asks her name, and she states that her name is Lian. After her departure, the con artist states that they were in a memory world. Yet again, the con man added that he must follow Lian if he wishes to leave the memory world. However, he knew better not to trust the con artist. Upon seeing how stubborn Yuan is, the long-haired man decides to take matters into his own hands. He uses a spell to make Yuan invisible to every, much like what happened last time in Faye's memory world. The con artist noticed that something was wrong, so he punched a tree, and the baby Giorgio fell from the tree. He threatened Giorgio to obey at all costs. Out of fear, the young dragon accepted. The con artist disguises himself as our hero in order to get close to Lian. Lian reveals that her little sister is sick and she's trying to search for a cure. The con artist proposes to Lian that they must venture into a monster cave together, promising to find medicine for her sister there. It turns out that Giorgio deceives the man by putting him against a giant beast. However, the con artist defeated the beast easily. As a punishment, the man kicks Giorgio up into the air. Shortly after, the con artist gave the herb to Lian. Because of that, Lian got closer with the deceiving man. The con artist reveals to her that there is a cure called the impurity of 3 incantations. Because of that, Lian decided to take the man into her home so she could see her sister. Upon entering, they were greeted by her sister. Yuan was shocked to see that the two sisters were very identical. The next morning, Lian and the cunning man are seen walking together beside the lake. The con artist confesses to Lian that he is in love with her and desires to be with her. Lian rebuffs the advances of the con artist and swiftly departs. It's also revealed that Lian is known as the Lotus Queen, while her sister is Lotus Frost. Lian returns home to tend to Frost's needs. She informs her sister that she's experimenting with the prescription given by the con artist, warning of potential side effects. However, she is refining the prescription in the best way possible. When the little sister questions whether they can trust the man, Lian replies that they have no choice but to try. Later, Frost advises her sister to live her own life, but Lian insists that she can't abandon her and let her suffer. Shortly after, Lotus Frost rises from her sickbed. There, she encounters the con artist resting beside the lake, mesmerized by the guy's good-looking face. She resolves to assess whether the con artist can be trusted. Just as she does, the con artist wakes from his slumber. The trio, along with our invisible hero, embark on a boat ride. During the journey, they discuss events from the Lotus sisters' youth. As the conversation continues, the little sister realizes that she is in a dream. She wakes up and feels frustrated because she thinks that she finally walks into the lake by herself. Lian comforts her and tells her that everything will be fine. T is revealed that when they were young, Lian fell into the lake, prompting Lotus Frost to jump in and save her. However, the cold proved too much for Frost, and that's where her sickness originated. The next day, Lian met up with the con artist. The man tells her that a new prescription has developed to cure Frost's illness. He stated that he found the final ingredient, and there would be no side effects. Lian desperately asks for the prescription, but the man tells her to calm down. The devious man reveals that the last ingredient she needs is blood. The amount of blood is life-threatening, and it must come with a relative too. The con artist explains that Frost is suffering from a blood disease, hence the necessity for compatible blood from a relative. That night, Lian tells her sister that there's no cure for her illness just yet. Back to the present, Ri tried to annihilate Princess Qi, but a barrier prevented him from doing so. Qi wakes up from the commotion and gets excited when she sees her royal knight. The duo ran outside to check the commotion. There, an intense battle between the fairies and the mercenaries was being held. The princess asked Ri to help her friends. However, Ri attacked the fairies instead. Back to the memory world, Lian meets with the con artist. She vents her frustration to him, expressing her exhaustion from caring for her sister and her desire to live her own life. Despite acknowledging that everything is her responsibility, she admits feeling overwhelmed by the burden of caring for her sister. Unbeknownst to her, Lotus overhears the conversation between Lian and the con artist. Meanwhile, our hero watches the scene unfold, feeling sorrow for the distressed girl as she breaks down in tears. That night, Lian informs her sister that the man has confessed his love for her, expressing her happiness. Frost responds that she's happy for her sister. Lian then heads to the kitchen to prepare a dish. Meanwhile, Frost retrieves a knife from under her bed and approaches Lian. She attempts to stab her, however. She is unable to do so. So, Lian shouts at her and tells her to do it. But the poor girl couldn't do it, so Lian grabbed her hand and stabbed herself. Lian immediately tells her to meet the con artist at the lake where the man is waiting for her. Tearfully, Frost carries her sister to the lake. There, the con artist reveals to her that Lian deliberately sacrificed herself for her sister's sake. He explains that Lian knew Frost was nearby and intentionally said those hurtful words to make Frost resent her, knowing that Frost would never agree to let her sister sacrifice herself because of her. Heartbroken, Frost carries her deceased sister into the lake. At that moment, the man proposes that if Frost agrees to become a fairy, she can be cured, with the addition of reviving her sister. Frost accepted the non-rejectable deal, and the fairy seed wrapped around her and her sister. The evolution fails, and Frost is the only one who becomes a lotus fairy. However, Lian undergoes a transformation into a different fairy known as the Frozen Lotus, resulting in her losing some of her memories. Witnessing this, our hero becomes furious and rebukes the con artist for manipulating their emotions for his own benefit. He blames the con artist for all the pain they've endured, stating that it's all because of him. Yuan attempts to fight him, but the con artist proves to be too powerful, effortlessly repelling his attack. The man stated that there was nothing he could do and that he should just give up. To add more insult to injury, the con artist tells him that the same thing will happen and that he will never be able to save his friends who are struggling at the present. The con artist offered him to take another chance to redo everything that happened. Yuan tightly clenches his fist and, this time, is hungry to make a change. That's all for today's recap. Now that Yuan is given another chance to rewrite destiny, will he be able to reshape the future into something good, or he will be consumed by the echoes of time? Brace yourselves as the thread of fate lies in the hand of our hero. Thank you for watching.